Hello and welcome. Welcome to the Libra new moon, which is exact on October 21st, 2025 at 5:25 a.m. Pacific time. During this Libra new moon, we have the sun and the moon in an exact conjunction in the sign of Libra, which is cardinal masculine air, ruled by Lady Venus herself. And the energy of Libra is one of diplomacy. Libra's energy is bringing themes of justice and harmony and balance into our lives. And it's worth noting at this time that Lady Venus is active. She's at the anaretic degree of the end of Libra, 28 degrees of Libra. And there is overall, when I go through all these aspects, the anaretic energy is definitely present. And an anaretic degree at the end of the sign can present some challenges to make sure that we really understand the lessons of the sign. The anaretic degrees of the beginnings of the sign are just like a blank slate, a newness. And, well, part of that new energy is taking place because we have a yod. We have a yod between Uranus, which is retrograde at 0 degrees, anaretic degree, newness of Gemini. Uranus is conjunct Sedna at 0 degrees of Gemini. And the sun and the moon, let me back up. This yod that's taking place is between the sun and the moon. The apex of the yod is the sun and the moon, which means the culmination, the way through, comes through the energy of Libra, the sun and the moon in Libra. But there's some new downloads to be had by the energies of Uranus retrograde and Sedna in Gemini. And these new downloads are very much about how all of creation is interconnected. The other part of that yod is a quincunx between the sun and the moon with Neptune and Saturn. And Neptune is retrograde, still at 0 degrees of Aries. Saturn's already left Aries and is retrograded back into Pisces. So this energy is reminding us that we are the change. It is up to us as individuals to see beyond the illusion and delusion. And while this yod is offering us some challenges, these challenges are around the themes of harmony and diplomacy. And this new moon is going to invite us with this yod to synthesize opposites. The new moon and the sun, with the sun and the moon in Libra. The synthesization of opposites. I don't know that that's a word. But also to synthesize the polarity for the change that we seek. That we're likely in the mundane 3D world experiencing a lot of polarity, but at a fundamental level, we know that the world is not just black and white. It's not just one side or the other. That the universe is a continuum of energies. And the illusion and delusion is that of the black versus white, the you versus me. So as we're seeking this sort of synthesizing, part of this is going to come through with new downloads of how we are part of a co-creation. We're co-creative beings, but we're also personally sovereign beings. And we have the personal power to create and to co-create, that we're not in this alone, but we are very much, our consciousness, our soul's purpose matters. And it's worth noting that I mentioned that Uranus is conjunct Sedna during this new moon, but that has been going on throughout 2025. And it's getting closer and closer as 2025 ends, and it's actually going to be exact in May 2026. I will do a deeper dive on that topic as the conjunction nears. But for right now, it's worth noting that what's coming through with Sedna's energy is one of transcendent change. If you remember her myth, it's that her father took her out in a boat. She's the Inuit goddess of abundance and life and birthing new creations under the sea. And if we think about the way that, well, her father took her out into a boat, there's a couple different stories. One of them was that something about the way she was living her life was not, if I can synthesize them, was not as the normal village would have expected. Although she wasn't doing anything wrong, she was just her own unique being. And he took her out and he threw her overboard to get rid of her. And she crawled back up into the boat. He cut off her finger. She crawled back up again. He cut off her forearm. She crawled back and he cut off her arms. And she sank to the bottom of the sea and became transformed into this beautiful goddess of nurturing and life and creation. But it's also worth noting that she, to the naked eye, if you're looking out over the vast, stark landscape of the Arctic, it looks pretty bleak and cold. But if you were part of the Inuit tribe, you likely knew that there was abundant life beneath that veil, that thick layer of ice. So Sedna has some aspects about transformation, but it's very much kind of Neptunian, and it's the types of transformation that exists beyond what we can see and what we can understand with our mundane 3D vision, our mundane 3D experience. And Sedna reminds us that we're supported. We're always nourished, both today and for all of our tomorrows. Even though that story starts off kind of dark, we can think about the parts of our world that maybe we're experiencing as challenging or dark or fearful, that there is this ultimate karmic process of transformation that we are all a part of. And beyond the yod, we have another theme that's with us throughout the close of 2025. I've mentioned it before. It's a minor triangle with all the outer planets, Pluto, Uranus, Neptune, as well as Saturn. And I mentioned that it's really about Pluto, Uranus, and Neptune. They are all in a very tight, harmonic, sextiling and trining each other, as if they're the elders that are speaking to each other and communicating to each other, knowing that we are going through this sort of, here in the physical world, this major generational change. But the outer planets, the planets that are above and beyond the physical world, are coordinating. They're communicating, and their energy is one of subtle energy. So it's not necessarily the physical 3D world. It's about reminding us to let go of the old ways so that we can welcome the new ways, and to have peace in knowing that there is a larger picture, that if we're just simply looking at what's happening today, we might miss. But there is this support that we have from the outer planets. And that minor triangle is, during the time of this new moon, is actually part of a kite. Because there's also a grand trine that this minor triangle is part of. And that grand trine is between Uranus and Pluto and Lady Venus herself. And I mentioned that Lady Venus rules Libra. So this is an extra potent dose of the vibes of justice and harmony and balance of power. Which means we're probably going to find these things, these themes of justice and harmony and balance, by letting go of old ways, by releasing outdated forms of communication, things that we hold true, and truly embracing that we are the change. Our consciousness, our energy, our moment-to-moment vibration is the change. And it also means that no one else is going to do this for us, that we are the transformation. And so we're going to feel this sort of visceral motivation likely to embody the things that we want to see, individually as well as collectively. And the kite is giving us this sense that the time is now. The time is now. Every moment is going to feel potent and precious and powerful. And that's not just for this new moon, that's for the close of 2025, because the minor triangle is present there. And in the kite, we also have Venus opposite Neptune. So this reminds us that the challenges we see or the challenges we experience are in the realms of seeing beyond the illusion. So we're being reminded that there's more to understand about ourselves. There's more to understand and know and be about our purpose in this life. And with Neptune, this is very much reminding us that the old world is ending as the new is being born. And we've likely felt the motivation, this excitement that there's change in the horizon. And now we are in the birth process. And the adage, as above, so below, is operative here. As within, so without. We are the microcosm to the macrocosm. So now more than ever, embodiment of the change we seek. We also have, during this new moon, at the exact time of the new moon, we have 2 grand trines. And the first grand trine is between Jupiter and Cancer. And Jupiter in Cancer is the major aspect of the first grand trine. And Jupiter in Cancer is conjunct Procyon. And Procyon is a fixed binary star. It's the 8th brightest star in the sky. And it translates to meet before the dog, which means before the star Sirius. Sirius is the dog star because it comes in the night sky before Sirius. And it's this kind of precursor energy to the energy of Sirius. And if you remember that Sirius is, well, they're both binary stars. Sirius is the binary star that's known as the central sun to our sun. And as the closer that Sirius and our sun get to each other, the more Sirius is able to clearly communicate downloads from the galactic center to our sun, and our sun filters that to us. And this is associated with the grand cycles of time, the yuga cycles and we can likely feel that we're coming up out of darker times, darker ages, and we're headed into lighter times. And our ancestors understood that ascension of energy, that lightening up, that sort of coming into this light and bright and beautiful age where humanity is so magical and powerful. That happens because Sirius and the sun are getting closer and closer together. So when we consider that Procyon is the precursor to that energy, there's some really interesting downloads that can come through right now. And Procyon is known to have the nature of both Mercury and Mars. And it just so happens that as a part of this grand trine that are the planets of both Mercury and Mars. So this energy of Procyon here is clear and aligned. And what is that energy? Well, this is where it gets interesting. Procyon gives this kind of the Mars energy is one of activity, possible violence, sometimes this idea of challenges, of disasters, of the shadow side of Mars, essentially. If we're thinking about petulant energy, proud energy, angry energy, careless energy, violent energy. But hang on, because Procyon is known, the energy is kind of known to be death by a dog bite. Death by a dog bite, but Sirius is the dog star. So there's this karmic energy that we can release into, knowing that if these themes of Procyon are present in the world, that they're being magnified here because they're peaking so as to be eradicated by the energy of the dog star itself, by the energy of Sirius. So this is a really cool and fortunate appearance of Procyon in this grand trine. And trines are about flows of energy, things that happen that we don't have to try so hard to make happen. There's just this sort of ease and flow and creativity that happens all on its own. So to have Jupiter conjunct Procyon is indicating that this is a part of our expansion, that we might see things that are coming up and rearing their energy, this sort of darker side, but it's so as to lead itself to extinction. And we know that because we also have Jupiter and Procyon conjunct Pollux. And Pollux really adds to this death rebirth energy because Pollux is the immortal twin in the sign of Gemini of the twins of Castor and Pollux. And Pollux is the most prominent star in the constellation of Gemini. And it symbolizes duality. The theme of duality is coming up again. And it symbolizes duality so as to allow us to raise above it to immortality. Just briefly, the theme of Castor and Pollux was they were twins, and Castor was the brother that died first, and Pollux pleaded with Zeus to please place my brother in the constellation of Gemini with me. And because he was so selfless, he became immortal. And so this reminds us that we exist above and beyond the physical world, the mundane world. And very likely that there is what we see in our world is an illusion. And that there are things that are going to become clear during this lunar cycle, during the end of this year, that are about how the things that we have just so held to be true, there's an aspect of delusion in them. And it's also worth noting that Pollux has the energy of the rescuer and the protector. And both twins were known to be healers to humanity. But Pollux really gives this immortal, above and beyond the physical world energetic of protection and rescuing. Maybe feels a little bit of a weak word, but the idea is that there is a greater order afoot here, that all is well in our world. And so when we think about this grand trine between Jupiter and Procyon and Pollux, that's just one aspect of the grand trine. There's two other aspects. And remember, grand trines are harmonious flows of energy between all of these celestial bodies. So here, part of this flow is between Jupiter and Procyon and Pollux, but it's also another arm and another aspect of this flow is between Mars and Mercury and Black Moon Lilith, which are all tightly conjunct in the sign of Scorpio. And Mars and Mercury and Lilith in Scorpio speak to the hidden truths around the nature of our personal power, the nature of our communications, the nature of our daily lives, suggesting and reminding us to pause when we see things in the physical world that might be upsetting to us or somehow feeling like our energy is being asked to drop versus stay bright and high. And Lilith reminds us that there's another way, and that our personal truth, our personal purpose, and our power matter. And not only do they matter, they are essential. They are essential to our inner guidance. They are essential to our souls being able to stay on course for our purpose here. They're essential for our ability to co-create and be the change. The final part of this grand trine is between all these energies, as well as the conjunction of Neptune and Saturn. So remember that Saturn already retrograded into Pisces. Saturn is at the late degrees of Pisces, reminding us and almost demanding that we look within to review, because it's retrograde, what we really and truly know to be true, what we really and truly hold and value. It's as if the physical world right now, it might likely will present circumstances that speak to standing up for what we fundamentally hold near and dear. It's going to be this sort of visceral, harrowing experience. It doesn't mean it has to be dark. It's just going to mean that we're going to be really feeling what is true for us. What are our fundamental values? What are our fundamental truths? And we also have Neptune retrograde at 0 degrees Aries. This adds the element of personal and sort of a cathartic possibility for release of outdated ways and outdated values. So if it has this sort of harrowing effect, it's signaling that the latter part of 2025 is going to have this idea of forging us as if we're being forged in the fire of the phoenix. There's this bonding element that's going to come through with ourselves as individuals and the collective universal principles that we hold to be true. And I would offer that those principles are unity, and here with the moon and the sun in Libra, that's, it's unity, it's harmony, it's interconnectedness, that's all likely going to surge. And so finally, also to cycle back to the yod that I began with, we have in that yod, well, above and beyond that yod, we have the sun and the moon conjunct, as you know, exactly opposite Eris and Chiron. Eris and Chiron are at the late degrees of Aries, adding a powerful dose of karma in the choices that we make, in our actions and our thoughts. It's as if our ability to have compassion, to feel ourselves as a part of the collective, is going to be amplified. We're going to be not just invited, but really activated to realize and remember in a very 3D way, in a very physical way, that our own ego can affect everyone just as much as our own choice to offer healing. And there's going to be this sort of, I feel like harrowing sounds a little bit too dark. It's just going to feel like, I often feel like there's this hand behind us. There's this energetic wave that's going to remind us in this visceral way of these things that we value, and that we really are here for healing and for expansion and for co-creating a bright and beautiful world. So all that's going to really come online during this new moon, during this lunar cycle, and it's going to carry through the end of the year. So we're going to feel this motivation to offer healing in whatever form that might be. Emotional, mental, psychological, even to start to really be that change, as I was saying, and to teach and to lead by our energetic example, so that we can truly step in to being the change that we seek. All right, let's go ahead and get to a meditation. Go ahead and find some place where you can sit or lie with a straight spine for the next little bit of time, somewhere where you can close your eyes and not be disturbed. And begin by bringing your awareness to your breath. Breathe in through your nose. Let that breath be just a little bit slower and a little bit deeper. Feel the air fill your lungs. And breathe out through your mouth, taking more time on the exhalation as well. Breathing in again, just for a few more breaths. Physically experience the beauty and the miracle of your body breathing. Feel your ribcage rise up and expand out, and welcome in that fresh, vital air. And as you exhale, as is the case, releasing old energy, releasing whatever's ready to go. Exhale through your mouth. Take 2 more breaths just like that. And as you just simply connect and engage in breathing more deeply, start to feel your body respond. Feel your mind respond. Feel the thoughts start to slow. Allow your body, the muscles in your body, to relax. And continue with the breath If you can, keep it slow and easy and deep, but not efforting too much. Just an easy, deeper breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. And I invite you to journey with me to a clearing in an old growth forest. As if there's this circle that has been naturally, energetically carved out from these great, vast old trees, and it's this beautiful carpet of grass and moss. And imagine that you're coming to sit in the center of that clearing, in the center of that circle, and you can sit or lie and feel the softness of the earth beneath you, of the grass and the moss. And it's as if when you're sitting down or coming to lie down in the center of this clearing, there's this circle of light that's already been created by this cathedral of trees. And you are right in the heart of it. And for a moment, turn your awareness externally to these old giants, these old growth trees. First, notice what kind of trees they are. Are they oaks? Are they ash? Are they conifers? And feel yourself completely seen, welcomed, nourished, supported by these giant, wise beings who have lived longer, likely, than several generations of humanity. And feel them welcome you into the center of this sacred space. And now as you breathe, as is the case, take in the nourishing, vital air and energy that these trees are providing you. Take a nice, easy breath in and breathe that air in and take that energy in simultaneously. And as you exhale through the mouth, release. Release whatever doesn't serve, whatever's stale, whatever's stuck. Breathing in again, taking in this fresh, vibrant energy. And imagine that this energetic signature is precisely honed just for you, because all of these old, ancient, wise trees, they know who you are. They know the precise energy and nourishment and support that you need right at this precise moment. And exhale, as you exhale, start to connect and remember that your exhale is also food and nourishment, and it's precisely what they need. So there's this symbiotic nature between these old, ancient, wise, old-growth trees and you. And now start to really connect to the sacredness and the power of you. Because it's not just that you're this tiny little human and you're being blessed by these old, wise trees. It's that you are a peer. You are to the trees what the trees are to you. And start to feel that lift you up. It's as if the energy now has congealed and you're just sort of floating on this beautiful carpet of green, and you're surrounded. Your aura is infused by this energy, this nourishment from these trees. And that everything you're ready to release is precisely what the trees need right now. And that just like these trees are old souls, so too are you. That there's a reason why you're here at this precise moment on this planet, and that your soul chose the exact place and time for you to come into this physical world, because you're signed up to be here now and to remember on a profound level how powerful and meaningful and wise and purposeful you are. And just take that in. Take it into your heart. Take it into every cell in your being. Take it into every aspect of your energetic field. And start to remember the sacredness and the power and the wisdom of who you are. And that really quite possibly just simply by breathing, which means by having consciousness, by being alive. It's not necessarily the mundane 3D things that we're going to do or to speak. It's the vibration that we carry. This is why you are here, and that you are here to be a part of this co-creation of a beautiful interconnected world, and feel the trees welcome you into this interconnected wisdom. They know it. Their roots are intertwined beneath the soil. They know that they are interconnected with all of the natural world and with the cosmos. They need the energy and the nourishment from the sun itself. And for just a few moments now, invite them, take this energy in and have these trees help you remember that aspect of who you are. That you are not just a powerful, wise, purposeful soul. That you know at a very fundamental level that you are connected to everyone and everything everywhere. Take that in, breathe that in. And release with the exhale anything that does not serve. And maybe you can feel your heart well, you can feel your body humming with love for you, with respect for you, with the sense of being at the right place at the right time. Your contribution, not only does it matter, it is essential. Wonderful. And now I invite you to imagine that you're carrying this with you, this vibration, this love for yourself and your purpose here within your heart, and this ability to understand that it doesn't need to be of the old world. It doesn't need to be linear. It doesn't need to be chained or tied to the physical world, that your soul's purpose is vast, and that maybe there isn't anything quote unquote to do. There is only to be. To stay connected to that sacred, bright, beautiful, loving, interconnected being that you know you are. Feel the upliftment and the ease and the truth of that, and imagine yourself carrying that wisdom with you. Being that change, being that vibration. Wonderful. Before we close this meditation, take a moment from your heart that's likely lit up and welling with the love for who you are, the remembering of this wise, old, beautiful soul that knows who they are and why they're here. Send a pulse of gratitude from your heart out into this cathedral of old growth trees. Thank you. Thank you for being connected and interconnected with me. Thank you for being here now with me. And maybe send those trees a blessing. And come to experience it as you send thanks and blessing and love out, you receive precisely what you're sending. Wonderful. Thank you, as always, for joining me. Thank you for the thousands and thousands of people in the hundreds and hundreds of countries around the globe that are not just endeavoring, but really coming to realize we are the change. Our light and our vibration is co-creating something that is likely above and beyond what we've ever been able to imagine. I'm super grateful for you. If you haven't already joined my email list, I'm set to launch an astrology course here towards the end of 2025, and I've got some exciting new offerings for healing herbs and teas to support us in shining brightly. I'll put a link in the notes. Have a blessed new moon, have a blessed lunar cycle. Bright blessings and so much love.